New Yorkers are pushing back against Letitia James. So this comes after Letitia James ordered to have people reprimanded for booing her in a recent event with firefighters. Now, you would have thought that the First Amendment would already cover for these brave individuals, but it looks as if legal action may be taken against them. Many feel as if this is just completely unfair. Why are you attacking firefighters? For booing? And that New York is already dealing with enough as it is. It really doesn't need to have firefighters in legal issues or even suspended at a time like this, right? But this is what many experts are predicting, that Letitia James, being the Attorney General of New York, would only cause more problems for the people over there. Now, before we really get into this thing, all I ask is that you guys take a second, drop a quick like for the video. And I want to thank you so much for sharing this video on Facebook and Twitter. We have to get this message out here, guys. So James has now become a household name in New York, given her infamy with former President Donald Trump's case, where they're charging him around $500 million in fines. She's also made headlines by saying that she's already got some plans as to which Trump businesses that she will be targeting if former President Donald Trump can't come up with the fine amount. This is the very reason why she got booed by firefighters in a recent speaking event, because they feel as if Letitia James is just using her position of power to bully President Donald Trump into submission. The heckling that took place has led the FDNY to try and come up with a list of the people that were involved in all of this commotion. Their plan is to hunt these firefighters down. Union representatives have argued that the issue be treated as a learning experience rather than an opportunity for James to put in disciplinary action. But a learning experience? Even that's uncalled for. If you're willing to accept applause, you should be open to the idea that you may actually be booed. The idea is that we are free to express ourselves and say what we want to say, despite it probably hurting other people's feelings. This, as union representatives, are saying something very similar to what Trump is saying right now. They're saying that this is a witch hunt. So Andrew Asbro, who's the president of the Uniformed Firefighters Association, he added that members were told that they would be, quote unquote, hunted down.
Not only is the fire department the greatest fire department in the world, it is also the most professional fire department in the world. And we let down that reputation on Thursday.
So the New York Post is reporting that a memo was handed out yesterday at all the firehouses warning firefighters that department investigators are reviewing video footage of the event to identify those FDNY people involved. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the FDNY, Jim Long, said the investigation isn't about politics, but professionals at an official event. You know, freedom of speech, I think, does play a part in some of this.
But also, if you're representing the fire department, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
At an official event, it doesn't really apply in certain cases.
I know.
Spokesperson for the FDNY denied that a hunt was actually happening and that they're only looking for the people who broke department regulations. Well, if they're looking for them, kind of like the same thing as hunting for them. Although many are unsure as to how speaking your mind and your opinion is a part of department regulations, but that's a whole nother story, isn't it? So Ansbro on his end, he said that booing has happened in the past before, including boos against their own commissioner. Nothing ever came of those instances. So why is it now all of a sudden a big deal? Is it because it's Letitia James? Is it because she's a sister? And like I said, New Yorkers are pushing back and they're already offering assistance for these people who may be suspended for exercising their First Amendment right. So lawyers Mark Fonte and Louis Gelormino, they have teamed up and argued that the firefighters have all the right to voice their support for Donald Trump. And the same can be said for them blasting James in a public gathering because they feel as if she's being biased about her actions. To add to that, the lawyers have already written a letter to the fire department rank and file offering their services for free, 100% for free, for any legal repercussions that they may face against the Attorney General. So their firm, F&G Legal Group, has said that they are ready to come to the aid of the New York's bravest. I love it. What do you guys think about that? So their firm has also sued the city over COVID mandates and the location of some migrant shelters. Some say they're just not afraid to go against the grain if they feel as if they're right. It also opens up the right of the people to have an opinion on current events instead of just following the narrative that's provided to them. What do we live in, like a socialist, communist society? There are many people in New York who are already showing their support for these lawyers, as well as the firefighters who heckled James. So Fonte, one of the lawyers from the law firm, made a very interesting point with regard to James's appearance for the public event. She said that if people have the right to applaud, then they should also have the right to boo or express displeasure. He added that by inviting a controversial figure to speak, the FDNY should have been prepared that something like this could happen. And based on some of the rumors that I've been hearing, the fire department, the firefighters, they actually didn't want her to come, but they invited her anyway against their will. The problem is that they were out of touch with their workers. It's basically them saying that Americans have rights in this country and that no matter what kind of political power or influence you may have, no one has the right to ignore these rights. Many analysts feel as if James was basically talking down to these firefighters. Simmer down. We're in a house of God. You guys remember what she said, thinking that just because she's the Attorney General of New York City, that she just should instantly be respected. I'm sorry. Respect must be earned. And many think that the New York City Fire Commissioner, Laura Kavanaugh, felt the same, that these firefighters did not have any right to let their voices be heard because she's already deployed the department's Bureau of Investigations and Trials to look for these people. You know how they're going to do it? Well, they're going to go through some video footage of the event and they're going to look for the hecklers who were booing James on stage. Can you believe that? I mean, it's enough to make any American sick, especially the ones that believe in the First Amendment. I mean, what's going to happen to these individuals that they think are guilty of heckling James? The rumors point to disciplinary action. We're just not sure if it's actually going to be a suspension or if people are actually going to be out of a job because of this. Some find it very hypocritical as James has been very outspoken about her win over former President Trump. Now, if you guys remember, Letitia James just kept tweeting about what Trump owes in terms of fines. So if it's Letitia James that's doing the heckling, is that okay? Is this yet another double standard? I mean, this is what many experts are seeing about this situation. It's like the people in power there have different rights compared to the average New Yorker or American for that matter, which is what some legal experts are calling out James for in this particular case. The case against Donald Trump didn't have a victim, and this is exactly the reason why he isn't giving that $500 million to the banks. The banks didn't get screwed. Trump didn't screw anybody on that. So why was this case brought about? That money, $500 million essentially stolen from Donald Trump, will go to the state and probably be used by James to fund projects for the Democratic Party. Perhaps $500 million may go to the migrants that are crowding New York City for all we know. But with this instance where she felt so embarrassed by New York's bravest that she would actually want an investigation to happen to confirm their identities, this is like another level of pettiness. But it also shows more people just how she is when it comes to politics. It shows that she absolutely doesn't like it when people oppose her ideas and her beliefs. And it's also giving way for Americans to come together and just say basically enough is enough, that we have rights in this country. One of the most basic ones is that we can voice our opinions freely. Some critics of James say that the firefighters should sue if any disciplinary action is taken against them, because that would make it seem as if the AG or the Attorney General of New York is retaliating for simply being told that she's wrong, for being heckled in a public event, an event that they knew had Trump supporters in it, which raises the question of what should happen to these people in high government office for pushing their weight around. Do any of you guys think that Kavanaugh should resign or even be removed from her post? Should Letitia James be forced to resign for bullying firefighters? Or do they have the right to do this to the people in New York? Now, as far as I can tell, more and more Americans are standing up for what they believe in, and there's nothing wrong with expressing how you feel, as long as it doesn't step on anybody's rights. Now, before I go, I want to thank y'all for hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing this video on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you guys on the next one.